Right, Mr. Jim.
Hello, Casey. What's happening, man?
Hey, buddy. We are ready to rock tonight. Some very interesting things we're going to be sharing tonight. Pretty excited about it.
You know what, Case? Before we get started, I know there's a lot of leaders on here. There's a couple of big meetings that are going on right now that they have people in a room that are listening to this. And so I got back from the East Coast and a couple of days ago, and I spent the day in the office with Reed and Darren and everybody there. I am so excited about the energy and what we're going to get ready to do. So this is going to be a great call of announcements. But I tell you what, Thursday we're gonna give you the nuts and bolts of the direction we're going into, and I'm very excited about it, Case.
Yeah, well, and I know that you'd mentioned to me on a private call that there's a big shift happening at Nui now with all the great news around Texas. So let's jump right in, Jim. There you go. So the update, of course, here we are for the Nui Nation call, February the 25th. And the first thing, of course, big announcement is the 3 days that are left for the free enrollment that ends at Friday, 11:59 p.m. Basically, it's the Friday night, last minute, and then it's going to start the next morning, Jim. And they're going to start with the $50 caller registrations on March the 2nd, which means that the only way to get registered in Nui at that point will be with Kala, which is just exciting.
Yeah, you know what? That is because I had a long conversation with Reed and about the valuation and the Kala as not only a coin but as a blockchain. The actual use case for Kala as a blockchain, not only a coin. And I'm going to tell you something, Casey. What we're getting ready to do, with the registration, and there's going to be way more applications that give use case value to Kala. So, yeah, you only got a couple more days to register for free, but it's still going to be the best opportunity on the planet for $50 of Kala on March the 2nd, for sure.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And of course, Jim, as you know, when we launched CompChain way back in October, November, it's been there. It's been sitting in the background. There are people who've been using it. It's loading in every day. In fact, I think you shared that Dave was quite excited that we were experiencing, growth like kind of right out of the blue. And there are some exciting changes coming at CompChain.
Well, here's what's going to happen, and we're going to give you the details on it on Thursday. My job in the next 2 days. So if I ignore your call, it's only because I'm busy. Not you, Case, but all the leaders like John, and Jeremy, and John, and Juan. I've got when I get off this call, I'll probably be up till 3 a.m. putting together that program that integrates CompChain, CompCoin, everything into the Nui program, which is, and you and I both know, Case, is that the blockchain technology, along with the coins, along with the opportunity, is where the changes are going to happen and what's being disruptive in the world. And we really have the best blockchain on the planet, and we're going to utilize that. We're going to go full steam ahead with that.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like you just shared, we'll give you a bit more update on Thursday. For now, we'll just leave it at that. And of course, Jim, you've been working hard on the whole concept of coin collection, and it looks like we're getting closer to the second coin. And
the stall was Texas. I mean, let's just be honest. Okay, this is all leadership here. We wanted to be so very sensitive to what was happening in Texas. We didn't want to do anything that would jeopardize either Texas or Nui, and we wanted to make sure that we had a clear understanding about what we were doing going forward. And then on Thursday, you're going to see that in clear view.
Right. And we're going to give you some more details on that. But I think obviously the big news tonight, of course, is news about Texas. And I think we should just jump straight into it. I mean, the big announcement was that last week, Texas agreement was announced. And they actually just released from the TSSB, the Texas State Securities Board. I believe it was a post yesterday. Is that right, Jim?
Yes,
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was some, there was a slight delay. There's a lot of, when you're dealing with these type of circumstances, there's a really important way that both sides have to present the information, because this is a governing body for obviously a very large state. And, we as a company, we wanted to do everything absolutely as right as possible. And that's why Nui, as a company, they decided that for the best interest of the company, that it was better to just settle and do everything right, never drag it out, face it head on. I mean, Jimmy, I mean, you know how hard Darren worked to face this straight on. I mean, he went down and met the state governor. I mean, he met all the different people that were involved. It was a very, very big decision for us as a company.
Well, that's where you see you see the character, and then you see the real substance of a leader, not in good times, but when he's in hot water. Not hot water, but when there's a challenge.
Right.
And everybody knows on the call that Darren has never been shy as far as his work ethic. But when you see the team, the collaborators, the attorneys, everything that he put together and Reed put together and everybody put together in Nui to battle this, it was brilliant. And you're going to see in the next couple things that Casey shows you really what the odds were.
Yeah, and it really is impressive. So the first thing we want to do is, of course, be official, which is please refer to the official posts at Nui.social. That's our blog. And of course, if you want to go to the Texas side, please go to tssb.com. There's some .govs in there and things. So when you Google that, it'll pop up and give you the specific details about the outcome of the case, because there are some mechanical things that will have to happen for Texas residents. There's responsibilities on the Nui side on getting the resources back to the particular Texas residents, et cetera. So it's a little more detailed than that. But I thought tonight, Jim, that, because a lot of times people are saying, well, what does it all mean? And I think that's what we really want to speak to tonight, because we're Keystone leaders, and we don't necessarily, we're not the master distributors, and we don't work at the company. We sit as consultants in a very special space that allows us to be objective. And from our perspective, what we think is really, really important, just at a high level, again, this is just Jim and I's perspective, but I hope that it gives you some insight to where we're at. And the first thing that I'd like to share is that Texas is really cleared up all the allegations of fraud, which that's a big yay. Like, yay. Jim, how important is that?
Well, it's so important. You printed it. I mean,
yeah.
it's on print right here. No. Well, and when you look at, and it really comes down to some of the last couple texts that you have in here, Case, is that it's not easy to do that. And you have to do what you have to do your due diligence. And it's huge that those allegations were cleared.
Right.
It's big because they don't let go of that.
No, not at all.
Attorney generals do not let go of anything if there's anything that is in that vicinity. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah. And of course, the other side of that story is, we're grateful we're cleared of allegations of fraud, but Texas won as well, because they really got to clarify their stand as one of the toughest states on cryptocurrency. I'm not for or against, whether or not this is right or wrong. What I'm really grateful for is the fact that Texas got to really say, this is where we stand. And that sets that precedence, precedence that can give us clarity on all our, kind of go forward decisions. And I think that's important. Having these clarities will give us the better opportunities to make better decisions moving forward. True?
Absolutely. And because the compliance is actually a moving target at this point, and I love being in this position of compliance, because there are a lot of people that just don't do right by other people. They just don't do right. They just want to take advantage of people. And I love the rules. I love the laws. I love compliance, because if you can work in those compliance, you can create as much wealth as you want and still sleep at night. And wealth should create more peace than it does anxiety. And this does.
That is a great comment. I think what I also really liked here is both parties understood that this agreement really doesn't indicate an admission of guilt or fault on either side. What it really meant was an opportunity for them to come together and have a discussion about what it really is all about. Because, from the regulator side, they're like, what is going on here? They didn't know what a gigahash contract was, or a 1 year open-ended hash rate, or some of the things that we were just so, as bleeding edge, Jim. And I like that, because ultimately regulators are trying to figure out where blockchain cryptocurrencies are going to stand in the framework of regulation. And that's what this is all about. I think the takeaway is, as much as it's a pain in the butt and slowed our business down, and gosh, we can't really work with Texas and all these type of things. In the end, it's actually given structure for the other 49 states, or the other states, as they continue to figure themselves out. I mean, Texas is I think the fourth largest state in the United States. So it's setting great precedents and framework.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you get through the gauntlet first, there is some rewards for that. And we just did it.
Well, and that's why the next point is Nui's blazing that trail in the emerging space of blockchain, and is working to be that voice that's helping to establish the legal foundation and the precedents that allows for innovation and progress. I mean, how committed Darren is to being in the best place to help the most people have the biggest advantage, which is, his whole vision of 1 million people making $500. As we continue to emerge in this space with blockchain, with coin collecting, and all these amazing products and concepts we've come up with gigahash contracts and coin collecting, this is innovation. It's progress. We're in a very special space in time. I mean, many years. I mean, probably 10, 15 years, you and I will be talking about, hey, remember when we were running Nui and ran into all this craziness? But it's like, now it's a special time. And I'm very grateful for that.
I would be saying things like, remember when Juan was trying to keep up with us with closed caption on the call?
And I think he still is, probably somewhere. And let's talk about the fact, Jim, the last fact of tonight, which is from my perspective. And, I know that we've shared this, is that last year alone, Texas issued 16 administrative orders in cases with cryptocurrency related offerings. And when this sort of thing happens, Jim, as you know, most companies folded. You and I were a part of a company that folded, left everybody stranded, but not Nui. They're still here.
And that's, what? And here's the reality of that case. There's a couple of companies that folded that actually had more firepower and more growth and more volume than Nui did.
Oh, God.
In other words, Nui was like a David and Goliath thing, because Nui, Darren just reached deep and pulled out every resource he could to battle this, where the other guys just said, it doesn't matter. And that's because it was important. When you have the real thing, if you don't have the real thing and you're faking it, and someone punches you in the face and you're not a boxer, you run away. Right. But if you're a boxer and you know how to fight, and you're trained and you're talented and you got the real deal, then you defend yourself. Yeah. And that's what was so beautiful about this, because guys, you got to understand, whatever you're hearing from negative people, whatever you're hearing from everybody. I mean, when things go bad, people tend to go real negative. They just want to bitch and moan and complain about everything, and accuse and point fingers. And then all of a sudden, when it clears, they have nothing else to say. And the thing is that what Casey and I have taught all our lives to people creating wealth is, you have to stay on the positive side. You have to give people the benefit of the doubt. And this is what we did here. So those of you that have stuck strong and have stayed in tight with Darren and us, even through this year, you're going to be very glad you did when you see what's happening on Thursday.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think the magic here is that we have put together something that is so reasonable, and that truly, a $50 offer for a gigahash contract, for, to be a part of a blockchain, to be a part of a emerging economy that's inside of Kala. I mean, it's just, there are some very beautiful things that are happening in Nui. And I know myself, I'm deeply grateful. I know you are. It's great to work with an amazing team of people. It's been rough at the office because, everybody just wants it so bad to work, and we wish we could have moved faster, but this is a very special day. And I do encourage everybody, please go to the blogs, go to the official sites. This is just Jim and I's high level perspective. But from our perspective, we think that this really represents a real milestone, a watershed, so to speak, in the whole space of regulation, cryptocurrencies, mining contracts, and the fact that Nui's at the forefront of offering these type of products to the public is just, to me, is just inspiring. It really, truly is. So, and I think with that, Jim, we're really done for the evening. Wanted to keep it super tight. And as you know, we use Tuesdays for updates. And this week, we'll probably use Thursday as an update as well, with some of the new things that are going on. And but we're just genuinely grateful.
I just want to end with this, guys. I went home for, I was in a hotel room for 7.5 weeks going through all this and preparing with Reed and Kinsey and Hito and Curtis and all the execs. And then I went home. And when I was back there, Casey, I just made a decision that this is worth enough to move to Utah. And I made a decision. I'm going to be moving here as a permanent resident to help us as Keystone leaders and to help maneuver through this, whatever we can do to help. And I'm excited about it. I really am very genuinely excited about it. I'm so excited to work with John, Holbrook and Johnston and Jeremy and Juan and all the beautiful leaders that have just stuck in there, because the next step, Case, and we'll end this, is that now how do we create an income with this? How do we put money in people's pockets with this immediately? And you're going to see some strong movement towards that on Thursday.
Yep, for sure. And and thank you to you, Jim. As you know, that's a big move for you. As you know, your family, your kids, everybody are in the state of Maryland, and you just said to me, Case, what do you think? I'm like, wow, boy, that's a big decision. But I know that it's in your heart to make this the year of coin collecting, to support Nui distributors, and ultimately to support the industry and the vision of where this can go. So thank you to you, and thanks to everybody tonight. Hope you had an amazing day, and of course, we'll look forward to connecting with everybody on Tuesday. Have a great night, everyone.